Hey kids, Mr. Little again. Hard to believe that we are on week 5 of our remote learning. In addition to that, we are officially done with new content, Tides being our last one. So for the next few weeks that I have you, we're going to go and start reviewing some of the material that we have learned throughout the year. This week's focus is on physics. If you haven't seen by now, you should be going through the other two activities prior to taking your physics review quiz. This quiz is 11 questions long. Make sure that you are taking the correct quiz. Remember, a 70 or higher is required in order to get credit for the assignment. So here we go. First things first, obviously put in your first and last name, put in your class period, select the correct radio button. And this is one where you may want to go ahead and have your notes handy. The slides may be really useful in helping you answer some of these questions, because I know it's been several weeks since we've gone over this, but we're really interested in making sure that you've retained a lot of the learning from that unit. But if need be, go ahead and reference those slides. That should help you answer several of these questions. Okay, first question. Which object has an unbalanced force acting on it? Would it be a dog running at a constant speed of 1 meter per second? A car accelerating south on Interstate 35? An airplane flying steadily in a northwest direction at 225 meters per second? Or a grocery cart not being used? Which one of those shows an unbalanced force acting on it? Next question. What is the net force acting on a balanced object? Would it be 0, less than 0, greater than 0, or the difference between the forces? Next question. This scientific tool measures blank in the metric units of blank. Would it be mass in grams, force in newtons, speed in meters per second, or velocity in meters per second? Next question. How much force is needed to accelerate a 3-kilogram toy car at a rate of 1.5 meters per second? F equals ma. Round your answers to the nearest whole number and do not include the unit. So make sure whatever answer you put right here is a whole number, and don't put any kind of units. Don't put the word newtons or anything like that. All I'm looking for is simply the number. Okay, next question. What is the speed of line A? Round to the nearest hundredth and do not include units. So just as a refresher, when I'm looking for the nearest hundredths, I'm looking for 0.00 or point something something. Obviously 0.00 is not the correct answer, but it should be, point something something. For instance, 0.85, 0.26, 0.29. Obviously it should go to that second digit. Notice that you've got distance on the y-axis in feet, and you've got time in seconds on the x-axis. So remember our speed formula triangle, speed equals distance over time. If you could go ahead and solve that, that would be great. Okay, next question. Which statement best summarizes Newton's law of action-reaction, or as we like to call it, Newton's third law of motion? Friction slows objects. All forces act in pairs. Force equals mass times acceleration. Or an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Next question. A man is driving in his car and runs into a log across the road. His car comes to a sudden stop. According to Newton's law of inertia, what would happen to the man if he were not wearing his seatbelt? And this really is the reason, kids, that we should wear our seatbelts at all times. A, he would not move. He would gain mass. He would continue to move forward at the same rate, or he would begin to move backwards. Next question. This one includes a diagram. What is the net force being applied to the box? So you can see from the diagram, I've got 50 newtons of force being applied to the right. Then over on the other side of the box, I've got an additional 50 newtons of force being applied in the same direction to the right. Would the net force be 0 newtons, 50 newtons to the right, 100 newtons to the left, or 100 newtons to the right? Next question. A motorcycle traveling 35 miles per hour slows as it approaches a stop sign. This is an example of acceleration, distance, speed, or velocity. Remember, kids, I'm going to point out here that the operative word is that the motorcycle is slowing down. So is that in a function of acceleration, distance, speed, or velocity? Okay, kids, get your calculators out. You may need it for this question. It says if a force of 50 newtons is applied to each of the three objects, which one will have the least acceleration? Notice that object X has a mass of 38 grams and a volume of 32 cubic centimeters. Object Y has a mass of 36 grams and a volume of 19 cubic centimeters, while object Z has a mass of 21 grams and a volume of 35 cubic centimeters. Real briefly, you may want to look up what are the three pieces that make up force, mass, and acceleration. Which part are we after here? Because if you look at the table here, there is a piece here that you really don't need to use in order to solve the question. But which one will have the least acceleration? Object X because it has the greatest mass, object Y because it has the least volume, object Z because it has the least mass, or object Z because it has the greatest volume. Last question, and I'm going to enunciate a particular word that hopefully will trigger in you the correct answer. A bike racer is moving 17 kilometers per hour in a southerly direction. Southerly. This is an example of distance, speed, velocity, or acceleration. Okay, kids, make sure you go ahead and submit your answers after you are finished. This concludes the week 5 on-level oral recording for the quiz.